You have one precious life. How will you make your money work for you? It's time for Sage Money Conversations, where your financial happiness and confidence are always the subject. Here's your host, certified financial planner, Barbara Norman.
Welcome to Sage Money Conversations. Do we have a treat for you today? Dr. Izdihar Jamil is sweet, smart, amazingly successful. She is a best-selling author, and she helps other female entrepreneurs be featured in high-profile media podcasts. She herself has been featured on TED, Forbes, Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, and hundreds of other stations. She's just amazing. She's written a couple of best-selling books. She Made It Happen and 13 Keys to Make Money. And my favorite, Turning Fear into Success. Because we're not going to talk today about what Izzy does professionally. We're going to talk about who she is as a person, because she is truly amazing. She is an immigrant agent, hijab-wearing Muslim, computer scientist turned media expert. And what I love, Izzy, about your story is it's really a tender story. You came to the U.S., were bullied, and had to decide, were you going to give up your culture or were you going to double down? So Izzy, tell us your story, because it's really a wonderful story.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you for having me. And hello, everybody. May peace be upon you. Yes, it was, like coming to America, like my husband and I, we waited 3 years to come to America with the good news for his dream job at one of the top engineering companies. So I remember the day he got the news, he's like, I got my dream job. Do you want to go to America? I'm like, okay, babe, let's go. And then we'll pick up our two young kids, my son Oprah, I think he was 4, my daughter Nada was about 1 year old then, not even one then, about 10 months old. So we jump on an airplane and, fly. At that time, we're in Malaysia all the way to, obviously, California. We jump there. We're just so excited. It's been our dream. It's been my husband's dream to work at this top engineering companies. And I was so excited, but I didn't expect the adversity to come in or to actually for me to experience it herself. For example, I remember going to Whole Foods, which is like a really posh grocery store.
Sure.
I wanted to buy fruit and vegetables. So I was in the produce section, the fruits and vegetables, checking things out, and then saw this white guy, about middle-aged, that height, salt and pepper hair with a jumper, come towards me, and then he asked, so are you a Muslim? I'm like, yes, I am. And then he says, okay, I've read the Quran multiple times, and the Quran says the jihad or the killing to fight for Islam is permissible. So are you going to blow yourself up? I'm like,
what?
Yeah. And I'm thinking, dude, the Quran is in Arabic. Do you even know how to read Arabic? That was my first thought. And then I say to him, I'm doing my grocery. I'm a mom. I've got 2 young kids. Of course, I'm not going to blow myself up. And then he says, if you're not a mom and you haven't got 2 kids, are you going to commit suicide and blow yourself up? And then
I again?
Mm-hmm. And I could feel everything shaking with me. And when I get stressed or nervous, my chest tightens. So I could feel my chest tightens. I could feel this anxiety coming through me. And I'm like, I'm going to go and pay and I'm going to walk off. And, and that's exactly what I did. And I was expecting that because it's such a dream, right, Barbara? And then to face with those kind of adversity, and it completely crushed me. It completely crushed me. I was so scared. I lived in England for many, many years, and I've never experienced such adversity before. So it completely knocked me down that I don't even know what to do anymore.
It didn't stop there, did it?
No, it didn't. There's so many things happen after one the other. I remember one day, a few weeks after that incident, Nadra was, oh my God, she was throwing a tantrum, the biggest tantrum, just crying and voice out and wailing and everything. She was tired. She was grumpy, but she didn't want to sleep. I was tired. And as soon as my husband come home from work, babe, look after Nadra. I'm going to go take a shower. I haven't showered for 2 days. As a mom, sometimes you just forget to shower. And I just wanted that moment of peace, Barbara, that moment of peace. So as soon as just a few minutes after I've taken a shower, my husband knocks on the door. Hey, you need to come down now. I'm like, babe, I'm taking a shower. Why? There's 2 police officers downstairs who wants to speak to you. I'm like, oh my God. Like, so, I turn on the shower, dry off, put on the hijab. And as soon as I opened the door, Nadra was beside me. For some reason, she was there outside the door on my left. So I picked her up. She was on my left hip. I carried her down, walked down the stairs. As soon as I walked down the stairs, I saw 2 police officers, full gear with a gun. And as soon as they saw me, the finger was in the trigger, ready to go.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, what's going on, officer? And they're like, we had a call from your neighbor that a baby was crying. What's going on? I'm like, well, she's tired. She's grumpy. It's been a long day, but she didn't want to sleep. And she's resisting to sleep. And then the officer looked at me. One of them looked at me and said, ma'am, what were you doing upstairs? I was taking a shower. and the police officer took Nadra, check her out, make sure she's okay. That made her cry even more because she's seeing 2 scary strangers that she didn't know touching her. So when the officer was satisfied that everything was okay, they left. And that really, again, knocks me down, Barbara. Like, it's too much. And I just felt that, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?
And you did nothing wrong, but the discrimination and the bullying in the U.S. is so difficult. And so tell us, how did you overcome some of that?
My God, it wasn't like an easy thing. I've prayed so many times to God. Like, for us, we pray 5 times a day. So that's a lot of prayers over the days. And one of the things that I asked myself, right, what's going to make me happy? Because I could disassociate myself from my roots and heritage, right? I could change the way I look. I could change the way what I wear. I can even take off the hijab, something I have worn since I was 11 years old, which is part of my identity, part of my ancestor root, part of my belief. Then I asked myself, what's going to make me happy? Like, what's going to make me happy? And I knew that taking off hijab isn't going to make me happy because it's part of who I am. So I felt that, rather than I'm hiding, rather than I'm doubting myself or being scared, which it truly is, I decided I'm just going to put more of myself out there. So I volunteer in my kids' classroom. I help out the teachers on field trips. I help out the community. And that's when people start to realize that even though I wear the hijab, that I'm just like them. I'm like you, Barbara, like someone who loves the community, someone who's passionate about education. I'm also a mom who loves the children and a devoted wife. And that makes them, the acceptance like, okay, she's cool. She's just like us. A lot of mindset work within myself to be confident, to be courageous, to be strong, to be proud of who I am. And it truly starts from within and then goes out. Yeah, exactly.
Because I think, and I am so sorry that you have gone through what you've gone through in the U.S. That is just, I'm embarrassed for my country, and I'm so sad for you. My chest was getting tight as I'm listening to you tell this story, so I can't imagine what you must have felt like. But I think there's a lot of women who have given up themselves, given up their identities to be wives, to work in the companies that they need to work in. And I think it's really difficult because unlike you, I think there's a lot of women who have kind of shut down and put their heads down and just gone. If you had advice for them, because I'm sure it wasn't like flipping a switch, like one day deciding I'm just done with it. Well, it was. You did decide I'm just done with it, but it doesn't happen like that. It's building blocks. So tell us a little bit more about where did the strength come from? Like, what were some of the messages that you said to yourself? Like, how did you do this?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And one of the things I remember really vividly, it was nighttime, bedtime. My kids chose a storybook. They chose a story inside the storybook. And I read the story. And then there was this one line, Barbara, one line that I felt that the divine, God, the universe was telling me that everything's going to be okay. I'm sorry. But everything's going to be okay. Can you imagine just from a kid's story? But because, I've been praying so much, 5 times a day for many days, for weeks, right? Because we do Fajr, which is before sunrise. We do Dhuhr, which is afternoon. We do Asr, which is late afternoon. We do Maghrib, sunset. We do Isha, nighttime. So that's a lot of prayers. And I remember that one line, like, everything's going to be okay. And, when you're pushed into a corner, there's no doors, there's no window, there's no air. And then suddenly, like, this came to me. It just completely lift everything from me. And I just felt, oh my God, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. The divine has showed me the guidance. I'm going to be okay. And it really starts from that. And then I started to shift my mindset. It just so happens, right? My husband, I got you a gift, and I'm like, my husband's so thoughtful. I'm so stressed out, so nervous. He's got me a gift. It's not even my birthday. It's so so he's got me a gift. I'm like, okay, babe, what is it? I'm so excited. I got you an online course. I'm like, an online course? Like, he's never bought me an online course before.
Not your typical bouquet of flowers.
Oh, online course. I'm like, what is it about? What is it about? And he says, it's about how you can become an online coach and consultant. And I'm thinking, I'm a computer scientist. I'm not a coach and a consultant. But he's so happy, Barbara. He's so happy and excited. He got me that gift. So I just smiled and said, thanks, babe. And the days after that, he's just like, have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? Babe, oh my God, just why? And then he says, Stan, you can work from anywhere in the world and still be with the kids. And I'm like, okay, babe, I'll do it. Because I'm not the type of woman who can sit at the cubicle of Facebook, and just work 9 to 5. I wanted freedom. I wanted to be with my kids. I wanted to express my skill sets in a different way. And my husband, he saw that. So I did the course in a way that shifted me from, all this trauma to something positive. So I worked on it. I did the steps of whatever it is. And obviously here I am now. But it's just that mind of focusing too much on the victim, why me? What did I do wrong? To like, okay, I've got this skill set, completely out of my comfort zone, but this is what I love. I love helping women. I love helping women sharing their voices, their message. I just love it, and without prejudice. And when I play, I've always been, when I was younger, at the age of 9, I've always been in championship games. So I've always been trained to have the best. And that kind of helped me to focus. And also remember that I had an amazing parents who taught me so many good values, to be respectful, to be kind, to be who I am. And I just couldn't forsake it, Barbara. I just couldn't. Like, I couldn't take my hijab. I couldn't. So that's who I am. That's my principles and values. There's some mothers who would tell their daughters not to wear the hijab, for fear of being social adversity. But I just couldn't. So somehow I got that strength in me. I was scared. I couldn't even go out of my house without feeling anxious of what's going to happen. But I just held on to that faith and held on to it. And today I'm much more confident than who I was before. And it takes a step. And I feel that any woman who's listening, who's got your principles, values, your identity, or your heritage, I think that the key to transformation, revolution is like for you not to blend, conform, transform, or fit yourself into situation, but rather be proud of your roots, your heritage, your principles, and values. And like a wise one once said, let people deal with you. And so it is.
Oh, I love that. So I am amazed at your story. Here you went from, being backed into that corner with no windows, no oxygen, no way out, into now getting into these high media, high profile places and being able to tell your story. And what a great story it is. And so here you are, wildly successful. And I'm sure that the bullying hasn't stopped. So when you encounter it today, how do you deal with it now?
And I'm really, really grateful that, everything's like, fingers crossed and everything, that maybe it does, but it's just not in my peripheral anymore. I'm like, okay, this is who I'm being. This is this. Obviously, there's comments and everything. And I'm like, so what? Like, because it's just because they don't know me yet. And because I felt that before I was being apologetic about who I am. I'm just being sorry about who I am and everything. But now I'm like, hey, this is who I am. And this is it. And I just gave a TED talk here in LA. And majority are from various kind of community. And the person that they love the most, the person that has the longest and loudest standing ovation was me. And I was just like, I shared with Barbara earlier, oh my God, everything that I couldn't that shouldn't happen. I messed up, I freeze, I messed up my life, I blanked out, I cried on stage, like everything. But they told me that we could feel you. We could feel everything that you should. We could feel you. Like, you're being authentic, you're being real. Nothing about me is like polished. I was so nervous, like backstage. I'm like, God, just help me take care of one person. But everything about me, like, I think that's really, really important. It just shows that the more confidence you have in yourself, the world's going to do. Like, there's nothing, none of us can do anything. But I can control my feelings, my emotion, who I'm being, what I say. When you give your heart to people, when you don't hide, they see the real you. So that's what I did.
I think that is so beautiful. And yeah, what does that have to do with Sage Money Conversations? Well, when I look at women, anybody, we never have enough money for all the things that we do in life. There are going to be some conflicting goals, and do we have enough money for both? But like you, when we're backed in that corner, I kind of feel like, well, gee, if we're solid in who we are, if we're solid in our values, if we're solid in what makes us happy, the rest of it goes away. And so you've told a beautiful story here today. I can't thank you enough. If you were to look back, coming into America, if you were to look back and give yourself one piece of advice, or if you were to give our listeners one piece of advice, Izzy, what would that be?
I would say that this is the same advice that I'm giving to my daughter and to my children. The time is not going to be easy. The time is going to be challenging. There are times when, too much is going on. But one, know that we're going to go through it together and everything's going to be okay. And two, always stay true to your principles, values, and identity, because that is the part what makes me the happiest, the most confident person that I've ever been. It's what I've known. It's what my ancestors' blood have in me. It's what my parents, my great-grandparents, it's like within me. So stay to that. Stay true to that and just be you. Whoever you are, just be you. Because the last thing you want is bland. When you blend, you people can't even see you, right? When you blend with everybody. And I think that, and I was so shameful about being a Muslim because I thought that, the labels and everything. But that's the best thing about me now. That's the best thing about me because it's who I am, it's my character, my heart, and everything else. And yes, the media has certain things to say, but that's not the truth. This is who I am. Even my husband, when I was giving my TED talk, my husband became a celebrity because everybody wants to know the kind of guy, the kind of husband, a Muslim husband that lets her wife be on stage and speak like this and be free and everything. Like, I've even got social media message, like people reaching out, can you say thank you to your husband? I'm like, okay, then. So my husband becomes a celebrity because not many people have had contact with us. So that will be my advice, like always stay true to your principles, values, and heritage. And it's not going to be easy. The time is going to be challenging and a little bit difficult and everything else. But when you stay true, you start to see that miracles start to happen. And things, like you said, things open up, things showing up. Like with Barbara here, like who would have thought, right? I would be in Barbara's podcast and we met at an event. Oh my God. But here we are.
Here we are. And I think you are a living example of it doesn't take wealth to live richly. And you have the gifts of your ancestors, the gift of your heritage, the gift of your culture. You're living it and it's just rich. It's just rich. And I hope more people stop and realize that we are all alike. We are all love. And Let's just enjoy each other and let's cherish who we are. And Izzy, that is a beautiful, beautiful message. I can't thank you enough for being on and sharing your story. It's just amazing. You have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Advisory services are offered through Barbara J. Norman, LLC, an investment advisor in the states of California and Texas. The information contained herein should in no way be construed or interpreted as a solicitation to sell, nor an offer to sell advisory services to any residents of any state other than the state of California, or where otherwise legally permitted. All content is for information purposes only. It is not intended to provide any tax or legal advice or provide the basis for any financial decisions. The information contained in this material has been derived from sources believed to be reliable, but is not guaranteed as to accuracy and completeness and does not purport to be complete analysis of the materials discussed. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of SagePath Solutions and are subject to change without notice.